Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rechak Kodesh. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the elect. Today we're going to go into the book of 2 Chronicles, the 14th chapter, continuing, and from the 13th chapter, right, we see now the transition from the reign of Abijah, the son of Rehoboam, to Asa, his son. So this is the book of 2 Chronicles chapter 14, verse 1. So Abijah slept with his fathers, and they buried him in the city of David, and Asa his son reigned in his stead. In his days the land was quiet 10 years, so he had peace. And Asa did that which was right in the eyes of the Lord Yahweh his God. For he took away the altars of the strange gods and the high places, and brake down the images, and cut down the groves. And this is basically him cleansing the land, right? Because we know that at this point in time, there was a great deal of idolatry that was going on in the land of Israel. Okay, hence they had these altars, right? These high places, these groves, these idols that they were all worshiping, you know. And commanded Judah to seek Yahweh, power of their fathers, and to do the law and the commandment. Also he took away out of all the cities of Judah the high places and the images, and the kingdom was quiet before him. And he built fenced cities in Judah, which these are defensed cities, right? Fortified cities. For the land had rest, and he had no war in those years, because the Lord Yahweh had given him rest. Therefore he said unto Judah, Let us build these cities, and make them walls and towers, gates and bars, while the land is yet before us. Because we have sought the Lord Yahweh our God, we have sought him, and he hath given us rest on every side. So they built and prospered. And this was like sort of thinking ahead. Now that you have peace, let's really fortify ourselves should the need arise. And Asa had an army of men that bare targets, being shields, and spears, out of Judah 300,000, and out of Benjamin that bare shields and drew bows 280,000. And that's 280,000. All these were mighty men of valor. And there came out against them Zerah the Ethiopian with an host of 1,000,000 and 300 chariots, and came unto Mareshah. So he came with a huge army. Then Asa went out against them, and they set the battle in array in the valley of Zephathah at Mareshah. And let's look up that here. Valley of Zephathah. Go Bible. Once again, we'll likely get an approximation. Okay, so this place is this somewhere southwest of Jerusalem. Okay. Yeah, I figured there wouldn't be like a pinpoint exact location, but there'd be some estimates as to where it would be. All right, that's cool. And Asa cried unto the Lord Yahweh his God, and said, Yahweh, it is nothing with thee to help, whether with many or with them that have no power. Help us, O Yahweh our God, for we rest on thee, and in thy name we go against this multitude. O Lord, thou art our God, let no man prevail against thee. So the Lord smote the Ethiopians before Asa and before Judah, and the Ethiopians fled. And Asa and the people that were with him pursued them unto Gerar. And the Ethiopians were overthrown, that they could not recover themselves. For they were destroyed before the Lord and before his host, and they carried away very much spoil. So the Lord pretty much controlled the battle in the favor of Judah, to where even though they were outnumbered, they were winning. They basically smote the Ethiopians. Now, however the Lord did that, in the details, it's not mentioned here, but you can imagine, right, in a battle like that, either the Lord, like in those RPGs, right, those role-playing games, you're able to boost the stats of your army, right, or your teammates, or you're able to apply some effects on the opposing side to where it slows them down or it makes them weaker or whatever it is. Scriptures don't specify, but these are just examples, right? Nonetheless, we know the Lord had it to where Judah prevailed, all right, and violated, so to speak, the Ethiopians. Verse 14, and they smote all the cities round about Gerar, for the fear of the Lord Yahweh came upon them. And they spoiled all the cities, for there was exceeding much spoil in them. So they got a whole lot of goodies. They smote also the tents of cattle, and carried away sheep and camels in abundance, and returned to Jerusalem. And one thing that's interesting about this is, sometimes what seems like, it's just like a war. The Lord just set this up. There's a war here. And, oh, Lord, please, we need you to deliver us. Ends up in them getting this great spoil, right? This great abundance, this great sheep, oxen, camel. And that could really just be one way of the Lord blessing them or blessing you with some resources or some riches or whatever the case is. It just manifested in the form of going through a war, which then by at least in this case, Asa and Judah doing the right thing by putting their trust and their faith in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, the Lord then, opened up that reward for them by having them defeat the Ethiopians, but also gain this exceeding spoil and abundance and so on and so forth. So sometimes looking at the end goal helps you see the bigger picture, Anyway, that brings us to the end of 2 Chronicles chapter 14. And Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem, Rachak Wadash. And until next time, Shalom.